And just as a reminder for everyone, I'm going to go ahead and start the recording for this meeting. Mayor, I believe everyone is present.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Luke. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Mary.
Good morning.
Good morning. Deborah, wow, a lot of familiar faces on here. Wow, great to see everybody. And Dick, it looks like you're back in Evanston.
Yeah, for a little bit. I'm going back up north again in a couple of weeks to look for some more houses.
All right, all right. Well, you know we want you to stay here as long as possible.
Well, it looks like that'd be probably for the winter anyway.
It's a lot warmer here in the winters anyway than way up there in Minnesota.
Maybe. We'll see what global warming does to the winter.
Let's see, Luke, are we all set then to commence this meeting?
I believe we're ready. Brian, do you concur?
Oh, yeah, I believe we're all set.
All right, let me just go to the screen where I can get the agenda and welcome everyone to the Wednesday, September 2nd, 2020 Liquor Control Review Board. We have several items on the agenda. The first item is to call this meeting to order. We have all of the members of the commission here today, including Marion and Dick Peach, who you can see. Is there a motion to suspend the rules so that we can have this meeting via video? So I have to make this request because of the pandemic. There have been laws put in place that allow us to do virtual meetings, but I need a motion from one of the members to suspend the rules and allow for a virtual meeting.
Yeah, so moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right, all in favor of our virtual meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, so we are now officially meeting. First item up, number 3 on our agenda is approval of the meeting minutes, and this is from July 2nd, 2020. Did everyone have a chance to take a look at those? And are there any questions or comments or concerns about those meeting minutes? All right, seeing none, I'd like to move the approval of the meeting minutes. Is there a second?
I second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, the meeting minutes are unanimously approved. We're now going to go on to new items of business. We have several here today. If you are here for an item on your part of the agenda and we complete it, feel free to sign off if you want, or you can stick around and listen to the rest of the meeting. So the first item that we have is Clark's, doing business as Clark's, which we're all familiar with because Clark's has been here for quite some time here in Evanston. Thank you. And used to be over on Clark Street and now are right at the corner of Sherman and Davis. But they still kept the name Clark's and they didn't change it to Davis or Dave Sherm or something like that. So they have requested a Class C license, and this notice was sent to the applicant on August 18th and to Alderman Wilson on August 19th. I'm going to start. I got to go back to my screen now to look at you all. Let's see. Do we have anyone from Clark's with us?
Yep.
Okay, Clark's off campus. There you are. I can't see your picture, but I got your voice. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the liquor board and just at a high level, just give us the request that you're asking for today.
Okay. My wife owns Clark's and she's right here. Her name is Jolanda Yoon. So she's going to kind of say hello, and then I'm going to take over since I've owned the restaurant for 25 years and I gave it to her. And she's going to introduce herself, and I'll be glad to answer any questions for you guys.
And what's your name?
My name is Tom Sadas.
Tom Sadas. Okay, thank you.
I bought it from John Klein in 1994, and about a year ago, I gave it to my wife because 25 years is enough in the restaurant business.
Long run in the restaurant business.
Yeah, 25 years. Well, we had a few of them, so. But here, introduce yourself.
All right, Yolanda.
Oh, yes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jolanda Yoon. I'm an African-American female. I have a degree in criminology, and I also live in Evanston. As my husband mentioned, we've been around for over 25 years. During that time, I've just been there making toast and, meeting all the people there. But just recently, when we moved to the new location, 804 Davis, the family decided to give the restaurant to me, and I was very excited. During this pandemic, we noticed that our sales have dropped tremendously. So we came up with ideas, mimosas, nice, cute little drinks. And so therefore, I'm here today asking for a liquor license so we can bring more revenue to Clark's.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. And I know everybody's struggling right now. It's a really difficult time. So I appreciate everything that you are all doing to try and weather through this. It's what we're hoping for that everyone can do until we get through this pandemic.
If I could jump in here, you guys really have done a good, I don't think people always expect the government to help them out, but I think that Evanston has done a tremendous job in doing what they can to help the business. I don't know about other communities. And I know I've had businesses in Chicago and they haven't been quite as helpful there. And you guys have done a fantastic job here at Evanston. So I must give credit to you guys.
Great. Thank you. And Paul Zelmazak and his whole team aren't on this call, but they are working, I know, really hard, and they're part of our economic development group here in the city. So Brian George, if you could just brief us as the board. I just want to know, as a city attorney, that you reviewed carefully the application and let us know the specific class that they're asking for, and if there's any issues that you see.
Yeah, so I worked pretty closely with the owners at Clark's and was able to kind of guide them on what specific items they needed. They've been in compliance with all of the items. They got their BASIT certification, the insurance, the surety. They've been a solid member of the business community for a while. I believe they're applying for a Class C license, and they've fulfilled all of the requirements. I don't see any issues with granting their license, and I think that it could be an asset to the community if they're granted the Class C license.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. Marion and Dick, do either of you have any questions or comments about this application?
No, I think it's a great move.
Okay, great. And just for my clarity, has Clark's had a liquor license before? Is this the first time you're getting that?
Well, we had one. Yeah, I can't remember when. At the old location, it didn't make sense. We tried it. We tried to. It just wasn't conducive to do it. But I think with the new location, we have an elder crowd that has been requesting. Like she said, the mimosas on the weekend. Maybe a Bloody Mary. When we open up for dinner, the beer and wine.
Yep. Okay.
So that's
right.
basically going to be a supplement to get some extra income in the restaurant.
All right. So seeing no more comments or questions on this matter, is there a motion to move this Class C license for Clark's onto the Evanston City Council for approval?
Sure. I move we move it to the council.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So we're going to go ahead, Yolanda, and we're going to move this to the City Council. Brian, could you share with them what City Council meeting? Will this make it to the September 14th meeting?
Yeah, the plan is to write up the ordinance and get it on the agenda for the 14th. They'll do that by the end of the week. And I would recommend that the folks at Clark's get in touch with their alderman. I believe it's Alderman Wilson, to request that the rules be suspended so the item can be introduced and acted upon all on the 14th.
Thank you, Brian. So yeah, you want to do that. And if Alderman Wilson is agreeable to that, that way you can get your license literally that evening on the 14th. Otherwise, it's a 2-meeting process. So oftentimes aldermen are willing to make that request. So
okay, Brian, so I don't keep you on here, I'll give you a call and you give me the details after this meeting, and then I'll ask any specifics to get a hold of the alderwoman, I believe, right?
I think I mentioned earlier, it looked like you were in the 4th ward, which is Alderman Don Wilson.
Oh, Don Wilson. Okay, I was mistaken.
Lastly, as I always say to any um, recipient of a liquor license in Evanston, it is a privilege to have a liquor license in this town. My expectation, the expectation of the liquor board, is that you will act responsibly and not let any patrons overindulge or serve any minors. And I take that very seriously. And we're fortunate in this community, we have very few violations, but if that were to occur, we're going to have a serious conversation in my office about whether you should continue to have a liquor license. So, please just continue to operate responsibly as you always have. And again, appreciate the investment that Clark's has made in Evanston and the work you're all trying to do to weather through this pandemic.
Okay. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you for all your help.
Thank you, Clark.
So much. And Paul, woohoo! Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
You're welcome, Yolanda. Congratulations.
Yay, yahoo! Thank
All
you.
right, we're going to move to the second item on the agenda.
I would like to know, is it possible that I can step away? Because my restaurant is busy. My husband
You
does
sure
paperwork.
can. You sure can. Once your item is done on the agenda, you don't need to stick around. So you can.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Thank you.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
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 All right, so second item on the agenda, and again, I've got the agenda on a different page here, so I just quickly wrote it down. So correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, but it's Few Spirits. And so I know we've got Paul Halecko here, who's the owner of Few Spirits. He's been before the liquor board many times. So Paul, could you just describe what the request is today for the board, and then I'll turn to Brian.
Sure. Just for clarity, Mr. Mayor, we have in fact been in front of the commission several times, but never once in a negative fashion. We've never had any accusations or allegations against our license. Just a minute.
No, I appreciate it. I thought the same thing, Paul, when I said that statement, so I'm glad you mentioned that. Yes.
After the warning you just gave to Clark's, I'm like, oh, no, we're good.
Yeah.
So, as I believe most of the members of the commission know, Few has now been in Evanston for a little over 9 years. We just celebrated our 9th birthday about a month ago to the day. In those 9 years, Few has been privileged, and we have now grown to the point where Few is the #1 selling craft rye in the United States, the #2 selling craft bourbon in the United States. We are sold in 50 states, 36 countries. This year, our whiskey, one of our whiskeys was named Best in the World. And then in 2 separate announcements that have not been made public yet, 2 more of our products have also got named Best in the World. So we've been able to grow both commercially as well as artistically and successfully. Evanston products, Evanston made products are now sold literally around the world. And I know many of the people on this call have seen our stuff all over. Everywhere you go, you can't really miss us. And so thank you for letting us do this in the great city of Evanston. And
it's super exciting, Paul. You know this. I mean, it's super exciting to see the growth of your company, because so many of us around here and elsewhere in the community remember when this was just an idea in your head,
Yep.
right, of what you wanted to do. And so you're an inspiration to many entrepreneurs out there. So talk to us about, so the company's been growing. So
growing, and part of a corollary of that growth is that our growth triggers certain legal challenges based on both state as well as Evanston laws, because we are only allowed to produce up to a certain amount of liquid per year. We are in danger of beating that or requiring, needing to produce more than that. And so while the state has rules and regulations in hand that would allow us to change our license class to accommodate that increased growth, historically the city has not. And so the change in front of the Liquor Control Board today is simply to allow the city regulations to effectively mirror the state regulations. And the city regulations would then allow us to produce in the exact same as the state. It basically brings harmonization to the city rules as well as the state.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Thank you, Paul. So let me ask Brian. Brian, is there anything you want to add to what Paul just said about this request, as well as, yeah, anything else that you think is important for the Liquor Control Board to be aware of?
No, not really. I think Paul summarized it pretty well. The change to the P5 license, I believe, was created when Hugh was working on things with the liquor review board. But yeah, like Paul said, it just kind of takes away, removes some of the boundaries to production that had been pre-existing, and I think it allows for continued growth for a few. And I think granting it would be an asset to the business community as well as the community at large. As far as the application goes, Few pretty much had everything already on the books, so it was just a matter of filling out the application and just doing some paperwork to get that completed, which we were able to do.
Okay. Marion and Dick, do you have any questions or comments?
Oh, glad to see the expansions necessary. That's wonderful. Congratulations, Paul.
We're trying.
All right.
Agree.
Anybody else that's on here have any comments about this application? All right. Then is there a motion to approve the request for a P5 license for Few Spirits and move that on to the city council?
I move that we approve the P license.
Yep, P5 license.
Yeah.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. I know Alderman Rainey is too. She'd never hand up, but normally she would. Yes. Okay. So, Paul, again, you heard what I've said to others. You've always acted responsibly. That's the expectation. Although I think it's changing, right? Did you have to close? I'm just curious on this. I know it's a little different than the license we just approved, but have you had to close your tasting room?
Yeah, so our tasting room's been closed now since whatever day it was in March that we closed. I believe we actually closed prior to the enforcement of closing, but I don't remember that so much. And literally before this call, I had to jump off the call earlier as we were discussing strategies for reopening.
So does that mean
trying to figure out the right way to do it? If we can, or we can't.
Does that mean then that you really can't serve, like if somebody had a special event here in Evanston, you can't have like a bartender go there and serve your product or anything anymore?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a real delicate thing that we're trying to, obviously we're very well acquainted with the city rules, but we kind of see the city rules as kind of a little bit of a floor rather than as a max. And so we're trying to figure out how we can, obviously complying that's a given, but what can we do that's going to protect the safety as best that we can figure it out? Again, using the city as a floor, not the ultimate. And trying to figure out a way that we can do that in a way that we can afford to do it.
Sure. Yeah.
And we've always had, the city has always been very supportive of us, and we're trying to always figure out ways that we can best support. And we do think it's very nice to have the resource of a distillery you can go to and buy bottles. And I know many of us on the call have been to the few Friday events that, of course, none of them happened this summer, which is unfortunate for many reasons. But yeah, we're trying to figure out the best way to move forward.
All right, great. And Brian, I just want to confirm, will this item also go on to the September 14th agenda?
Yes, after this meeting is over, I'll start working on the ordinances, or the ordinance approving it for City Council, and I'll get it on the agenda for the 14th. And Few is in Alderman Wynn's ward, so I would recommend that Paul just get in touch with Alderman Wynn if he has not done so already, just to give her the heads up so we can hopefully get it introduced and acted upon at the 14th.
Yeah, just for anybody who's concerned with the current situation, we're nowhere near the danger that we were in a little bit ago.
Say that again, Paul.
sorry, somebody just buzzed in. We're not in danger of blowing through our production limits right now. This is primarily just trying to get things eased in the way. There's no real rush, but obviously we always want to get it done.
Great, great. Well, congratulations, Paul, on the success of Fuse Spirits. We're all super proud of what you and your team are building. So it'll be on September 14th on the City Council agenda. We're now going to move to the next item on our agenda. We'll see you, Paul. Thank you. Next item, which is, let me pull up my agenda again, is the Palm House Productions, LLC, doing business as Palm House, and they are requesting a Class D license. And so I know we have Deb Evans with us and her daughter. There you are, India. And Deb, so India, do you want to, why don't we go ahead and we'll start with you like we did on Paul's, and why don't you just talk about Palm House and what you're all doing there and what your request is? Or is it going to be Deb?
Hi guys, I'm gonna give my mom a break.
Right.
She runs around here. So obviously many of you know us from Peckish Pig originally, where we've been for the last 6 years now. And prior to that, Deb with the Calthorpe. Our next project in Evanston, which we've been before a couple meetings already with zoning and things like that, is opening up an event venue across the street from the restaurant at 619 Howard Street, which is the old Sherwin-Williams paint shop. The building was about a quarter used when it was the paint shop, and the remainder of the building had been vacant for quite some time. And we are currently in construction and hoping to finish up relatively soon, and wanted to apply for a liquor license. And the way that we've set up our events is that we are the event rental, but we also want to hold the sole liquor license. And so what this means for us is that instead of renting a space and allowing caterers to come in from Chicago and from surrounding areas and do their events in Evanston, we're hoping by us having the sole liquor license and being the sole alcohol provider, that would in turn bring more of the liquor tax revenue to the city and kind of keep those funds here, instead of having some of the larger companies around town come and do spirits. We will still allow outside catering for licensed, bonded, insured caterers, but they will not be providing alcohol. It would just be us.
We certainly like revenue staying in Evanston, so that's a good selling point. Let's see, Brian, you've looked at this application closely. Any concerns or issues that you have based on your review?
No, they got everything in. Obviously, they operate the Peckish Pig, so they're familiar with the ins and outs of holding a liquor license in the city, and I think they've been upstanding good members of the Evanston community. I did not get the chance to visit the space, but Alderman Rainey told me it's pretty cool what they're doing there, so I'd like to get down there and check it out one of these days. But yeah, no, everything looks good.
Great. I want to check the space out too. Alderman Rainey and I were talking about that as well. And I hear it's pretty awesome, you guys. Yeah.
Really, a lot of stuff that we revealed in there that we didn't know with the vaulted ceilings were underneath a suspended ceiling. It's amazing what you can find when you dig around.
And it's amazing what some character can do to a place, right? Into the atmosphere of it. So that's, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited to get over there and see it. Let's see. So this is a Class D liquor license request. I know we had some back and forth before this meeting about making sure we got the right one. It sounds like all parties agree on that. Marion and Dick, do you have any questions or comments on this application?
Yeah, how soon are you gonna open up? Come on, guys.
You, Dick.
Come on, India. Let's make this happen.
We're trying. We really are.
I know.
Pesky pandemic. Yes.
Yeah.
It's so all down.
All right. Well, this is an exciting new opportunity here in Evanston. As always, we appreciate the risk and the investment that you all are making. Seeing no more comments or questions. Alderman Rain, did you have anything on this item? You're muted, Ann.
I just want to say that this was an undertaking of love and courage, and these are the same people who put in a proposal for the recycling center, and here they're just in the last stages of getting open here, and I unfortunately we have a pandemic which we're all dealing with, but this is 13,000 square feet.
Yeah.
India?
10,000.
10,000. And then a parking lot, I mean, and agreements with the Howard Street parking facility for hundreds of spaces at a moment's notice with a shuttle. This is a well-planned success in the happening. I mean, just really exciting.
What's the capacity, India? How many people can you have in that facility?
Non-pandemic.
Yeah.
Non-pandemic, exactly, yeah.
Pre-COVID, for our actual square footage, it would have been 450 seated.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome because Evanston does need bigger event space. You all know that.
I mean, it makes it, outside of maybe the Orrington, I think it makes it the largest space to hold events in the state of Evanston.
Could have a State of the City address there someday. I like it. All right. Is there a motion to move forward the request for Class D license for Palm House?
Oh, I absolutely move this item forward on the agenda for the class license.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right. This item has been approved by the Liquor Control Board. We're going to move it to the City Council. You've got your alderman already here. She's been around for a while. She knows what to do if we're going to suspend the rules and make it for introduction and action on that evening. You can work with Alderman Rainey.
We'll try.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Way to go, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Appreciate it. Okay, we are now going to move to the next item, which is Garalachi.
Correct.
Apologize if I mispronounced that. So
Perfect.
terrific. All right, Garalachi is requesting a Class K license, and they are over on Central Street. It looks like they're in the 7th Ward because Alderman Ravel is connected. So why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself so we get your name on the record. I pronounce it, but I want to say Cece, but I don't want to mispronounce it or anything like that. And tell us what you're up to and planning here.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. My name is Gaetano Commerci. But I go by Guy. It's just fewer syllables and much more easier to pronounce. I am applying for the Class K license because at 2120, we've owned that building for 38 years.
Which building is it? A commercial building? Which building is it? Just
yes, it's at the corner of Central and Hartree. Which is the bread company, the pizza company, and then there was a City Fit. And unfortunately, with the pandemic, it just didn't work out for her. So that space is now vacant.
Okay.
I've been on the liquor and wine distribution side, on the wholesale side, on the import side, and on the retail side. So I have quite a bit of experience when it comes to wine and spirits in general. We're applying because of the neighborhood's needs for something different. You know, Mitch down the street is a friend, and his model is a little different than what we want to do. We want to be.
He's just for the people that are watching, and he's the owner of Lush.
Of Lush, yes.
Correct.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so Lush is a bit of a different model where you can dine in and you can also select a bottle of wine on premise. What we would like to do is just be strictly a retail spot. We'd like to cater to just about everyone. We will have the high-end wines. We will have value wines. And in a little space like 900 square feet, we'll be COVID friendly, of course, by allowing a certain amount of people in. We would like to also be curbside compliant, and we will be delivering as well to the general area. I live a couple miles away in Wilmette, so I plan on spreading the word and getting my friends and neighborhood into the store as soon as possible. We've been friends with many people on the street. Peggy McTammany over at Four Finches is a dear friend that I've known for quite some time. So
have you talked to the guys who Peter and Brian, beers on Central? Different than what you're doing, but it's focused on craft beers.
Yeah, I have not spoken to them, but I'd like to let them do their thing without stepping on anybody's toes. And I'd like to do my thing as far as concentrate on wine, which is my specialty.
Right.
I've been doing this for almost 25 years. Yeah. And like I said, in the multiple tiers of sales, right. Which include distribution, imports, and retail.
I think it's a good call. I was just asking that question because their small shop a couple of years ago opened up, but their primary focus is on the craft beers, where yours seems to be more on the wines.
Yes, Mayor. And one of my dear friends, he is the national rep for Brooklyn Brewery. So I can use him as a resource, maybe do a little bit of investigating over at Beer on Central, and maybe not compete with them, have a specialty selection, again, so I'm not stepping on anybody's toes with beer selections. But it would be very limited when it comes to beer. And like I said, it's primarily wine in my expertise. I've gotten in touch with the alderman, and she sounded very enthusiastic about our phone call. So I would love to continue the conversation for the meeting on September 14th, if it is authorized and greenlit.
Great. So Guy, it sounds like you have a lot of experience in the industry and wine and liquor and all that. I'm curious, have you ever operated a retail shop before?
Independently, no. With my family, yes. We were downtown at 401 East Ontario, which back then was, you had a White Hen Pantry and a Starbucks, and down the street, literally catty corner, was the CBS news station. So yes, this was a million years ago, probably in the early 90s. So I was working at the Mercantile Exchange in the morning, and then I would go to the shop from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Once Fox and Obel, which was this grandiose market, opened up, we opted to close and sell. And then 9/11 hit, and so we seem to be ahead of the curve on that one. Now, I think it's a bona beef or something like this, but yes, I have been on the retail side of things, and been able to run a retail environment for, gosh, I think it was about 4 years.
All right, great. So I'm going to turn over now to Brian George, our city attorney, who's been working with you and working closely at the application and all that. Brian, any concerns or issues you saw or have?
No, from looking at the application, it's pretty obvious that Mr. Commerci has a lot of experience in the wine and spirits industry, and I think he should be able to bring that to Venissimo. I worked with him and his attorney, who I thought was on the call, but I guess he's not here anymore, on getting everything in. And yeah, they've got everything in. I believe he talked to Alderman Revelle, and from what I understand, she's supportive of the project. So yeah, no concerns here.
Okay, great. Well, that was perfect timing. So we're going to turn it over to Alderman Ravel before I turn to the liquor board. If you have any comments or questions or concerns about this application.
No, we did have a good phone conversation a couple of weeks ago, and I'm delighted to think that we've got an exciting new business to come into Central Street. We have, unfortunately, a few empty storefronts, and nobody likes to see that. So I think it sounds like a good fit for North Evanston.
Great, great. Thank you, Alderman. All right, Dick and Marion, do you guys have any questions or comments, concerns?
I think it's a nice fit for Central Street. I think it'd be interesting to see what happens over there. It'd be great opportunity for him.
I agree.
All right, I'm just excited to see investment, and I appreciate you taking the risk and making the investment in Evanston, particularly at a difficult time, right? We're going to get out of this pandemic, but I find it uplifting to see you and the Palm House folks here on the phone who are looking, far into the future. So thank you for that. All right, so this was a Class K license. Would someone like to move the motion to move forward to the City Council this Class K liquor license for how do I pronounce it? Oh, well, I said Garalachi earlier, but
Garalachi is it's a combination of my name, my wife's name, and my two daughters.
Okay.
The DBA will be Venissimo.
Venissimo.
So yeah,
Okay.
Venissimo.
So that's what we'll all know it by. Okay.
Yes, yeah,
Right.
that's what will be on the awning, and it's a bit of an homage to my dad. His first name is Vincent Vincenzo, and Issimo in Italian means even greater or better. But just to emphasize, it will not be just primarily an Italian wine shop. That was just a name, which is an homage to my family.
It sounds like a great name to me. It sounds like a great name. It's good to know how it came about. So would one of you want to move this motion to approve a Class K license for Venit?
Your turn, Marion.
You know what I'm talking about. It's the application.
I move that we approve, oh Lord, I just went blank.
Class K. Class K.
License K, 4, and I'm not going to try to pronounce the name of it. I think it's beautiful, and I don't want to mess it up.
Thank you.
I second it.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So, Guy, this will move forward at the September 14th City Council meeting. It'll be on the agenda. You've been working with Alderman Ravel. If she would like, she can request if her colleagues will allow her to suspend the rules and allow for introduction and action that evening. If that occurs, then you will, get your license right away. If it doesn't, then it'll take 2 meetings to do that.
Thank you, Mayor.
As I mentioned, because you're sort of new in town, I didn't mention this to India or Deb because they're longtime restaurant owners here in town, but I'll just make the same statement, Guy, to you that I did to the Jolanda with Clark's. It is a privilege to have a liquor license in Evanston. It's not a right or anything like that. My expectation, the expectation of the alderman and the board is that you will conduct yourself, responsibly in serving liquor to folks. Now, again, from what you described earlier, you're not actually serving it there. Maybe there's some tastings there or something like that.
Correct. There will be no on-premise serving or consumption. On Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, we will have distributor reps that will be there to pour some tastings. We typically limit those tasting quantities to about 1 ounce. And that encourages sales, of course, of some bottles. So we like to not only encourage our distributor reps to be present, but just to emphasize, there will be no on-premise wine served as a glass or
right. And if it ever got to that point, you'd have to go back to Brian because it's a different classification and
correct.
Everything else. But bottom line is we expect, it's liquor that you're going to, operate this responsibly, not allow people to buy who, are intoxicated or anything like that, obviously.
I just wanted to chime in and just clarify something. The license will be put on the agenda for the 14th City Council meeting, but that is also subject to payment of the liquor license fees and everything like that. I had spoken to Mr. Commercy's attorney, and he'd asked when that payment should be made. I said, it's up to him. He can do it now or after the meeting. So I just wanted to clarify that, obviously everything being approved, but there's still.
Well, you get your license once we've got the money, right?
Right.
Yeah. So Brian, I'll give you a ring after this call,
Okay.
and we can sort that out. No problem.
Okay.
Perfect. Guy, thank you for making an investment in Evanston and taking this risk here. We really appreciate it. And Central Street's a wonderful, one of our wonderful commercial districts.
Yeah,
Very
thank
much
you,
so.
Mayor. And like I said, we've been invested in Central Street for 40 years with that building. So it's exciting to be a part of the community, and very much looking forward to it.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we've got one more item on the agenda, and I'm going to ask Brian George, our attorney, if he will discuss this item and what action we need to take as a board on that.
Sure. So this is more of just an administrative step. Furious Spoon, which is a Class D liquor license holder in the city, is no longer operating in the city, and just so we can keep everything in order as far as the liquor license code is concerned, this ordinance will just reflect the fact that Furious Spoon no longer operates in the city, and the number of Class D liquor licenses was going to be decreased from 60 to 59, which, there again, but that'll be a separate ordinance. I just wanted to do this.
Okay, so Brian's cut out a little.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I think the connection. But we got what you were saying, Brian, and so I think the board's unanimous. I'll just confirm that we're fine with moving forward to reduce the number of licenses from 60 to 59 per the agenda. So we don't need to vote on that, do we, Brian? All right, just to make sure, I move that we reduce those number of licenses per the agenda item today from 60 to 59. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll move that to the city council. All right, I think we've lost Brian, but I appreciate what all the work he's done with all the applicants and helping us today. Is there anything else that anyone has for the agenda? I think we've moved